Lily was a sweet little girl who loved her pets more than anything in the world. She had a cute little puppy named Max and a fluffy hamster named Rosie. Max and Rosie loved Lily too and were always by her side. They played together, slept together, and ate together. But one day, Max and Rosie got lost, and they needed to find their way back to Lily. Max and Rosie were playing in the backyard when they saw a squirrel running up a tree. Max barked and chased after the squirrel, while Rosie watched from her cage. When Max realized he couldn't catch the squirrel, he turned back to the house, but found that he had lost his way. Rosie saw Max was gone and got out of her cage to look for him. They both wandered into the woods, and soon they realized they were lost. As it started getting dark, Max and Rosie got scared. They didn't know where they were or how to get back home. Max tried to bark for help, but no one heard him. They found a bush and crawled under it to stay warm. Rosie snuggled up to Max, and they slept the night away. The next day, Lily woke up to find that Max and Rosie were missing. She searched the house and the backyard but couldn't find them. She asked her parents for help, and they organized a search party. They put up posters and asked their neighbors if they had seen Max and Rosie. Everyone in the neighborhood joined in the search, but they couldn't find them. Max and Rosie woke up to the sound of a bird chirping. They peeked out of the bush and saw a little mouse nibbling on a nut. The mouse saw them and introduced herself as Molly. She asked Max and Rosie what they were doing in the woods. They told her they were lost and couldn't find their way back home. Molly said she knew the way and offered to help them. Molly led Max and Rosie through the woods, across a river, and through a meadow. Max and Rosie were tired, hungry, and thirsty, but they kept going. They missed Lily and wanted to be back home with her. After a long journey, they finally saw Lily's house in the distance. As Max and Rosie approached Lily's house, they saw her playing in the backyard. They barked and squeaked, and Lily turned around. She saw Max and Rosie and ran to them, hugging them tightly. Max licked her face, and Rosie snuggled up to her. Lily's parents saw them and were relieved that Max and Rosie were safe. They thanked Molly for her help, and Lily's dad gave her some cheese. Max and Rosie were happy to be back home, and they knew they had a new friend in Molly. As Max and Rosie made their way back to Lily, they heard strange noises coming from behind the bushes. Suddenly, two men appeared and tried to grab them. Max barked and bit one of the men's hands, while Rosie squeaked and tried to run away. The men were trying to kidnap little girls from the park, and they thought Max and Rosie would make a good distraction. But Max and Rosie weren't going to let that happen. As Max and Rosie were struggling to break free, they heard other animals in the park coming to their rescue. The animals in the park, which included squirrels, mice, rabbits, and even a few cats, had heard the commotion and had come to see what was going on. They saw the two men trying to kidnap the little girls, and they knew they had to do something. The animals quickly huddled together and came up with a plan to stop the kidnappers. The squirrels would distract the men by throwing acorns at them, while the mice and rabbits would sneak up behind them and try to bite their ankles. The cats would pounce on them if they got too close to the little girls. As the furry team executed their plan, the little girls managed to run away and call the police. The police arrived just in time to catch the kidnappers and take them into custody. Max and Rosie had helped save the day and had become heroes. The little girls and their parents were grateful to Max and Rosie for their bravery, and Lily's parents were proud of their pets. They celebrated with a big feast and lots of treats for Max and Rosie. The other animals in the park were also praised for their help, and they became good friends with Max and Rosie. Max and Rosie were happy to be back home with Lily, and they knew they had a big adventure to tell her about. They cuddled up with her and fell asleep, feeling safe and loved. Life went on, but Max and Rosie never forgot their adventure in the woods and their heroic actions in the park. They remained grateful for their new friends and for their happy home with Lily.